May the candles we light this holiday season remind us of the glowing love of the heart. May the carols we sing uplift our spirits and renew our hope and vision. May the special moments we spend with family and friends strengthen the bonds of caring between us at this time and throughout the year. And now I invite Olivia to come forward and light our chalice this evening.
Light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of service.
So for each of the last 4 Sundays, we've lit candles on our Advent wreath. Each light a step into winter, turning towards the turning of the year. We're leaning into expectation, into all that is being born in us at this holy time of year, when the unknown lies before us, rich with possibility. Tonight, we light the Advent candles for the last time this year. We light a candle of hope for that which is best in us to rise and to enliven our souls and relationships. The second candle is lit in the name of love as the creating force in our lives. We light the third candle in the name of joy. Joy in the shape of gratitude for all that is our life, and joy and expectation of the world that we are building and creating with one another. And the last candle is lit for peace, for the courage to soften what is rigid in our hearts and to find the soft spot to stay with it. And finally, we light our central candle. Boy, this match is doing too much work. We light this final candle, this Christmas Eve, a central candle, the light that shines in bleak places with the full power of our faith. We know, says the Reverend Bill Sinkford, how real the brokenness of the world is, but we will not give brokenness the last word. May this light bear our hopes as well as our faith in love, in goodness, in compassion, and justice. The light shines in the darkness, but the darkness shall not overpower it. And now I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our opening carol, O Come All Ye Faithful. It's number 253 in your hymnals. I will note, so we're going to sing the first verse in Latin and then the next 3 verses in English. But instead of singing the Latin verses as it is written in the hymnal, we're going to sing the Latin chorus. We'll sing the English chorus, which is, O come let us adore him. The words will be on the screen. Let me repeat that for those of you who are confused. We aren't singing the Latin chorus each time. We're only singing the Latin chorus the first time. Then we'll sing the English chorus the rest of them. The words for those will all be on the screen.
Good evening. Happy holidays and welcome to the Christmas Eve worship at the First Unitarian Church of San Jose. We in leadership for tonight's worship hope that your holiday is magical.
So today, in addition to being Christmas Eve, or tonight, I should say, In addition to being Christmas Eve, it's also the first night of Hanukkah, which begins at sundown. And so I figured this morning we might tell a story that combines two different traditions. A story that happened about 30 years ago, a little over 30 years ago, in the town of Billings, Montana. And so in order to tell this story, I'm going to invite up our cast of players, or at least the first few of them, to join in telling this story.
It was a cold December night in Billings, Montana. Christmas lights twinkled on many houses, and from a few homes, Hanukkah menorahs shone in the darkness. It was the third night of Hanukkah. At Isaac Schnitzer's house, there was a menorah in almost every window. Isaac was in the den, working on his math homework. Suddenly, there was a loud crash. Ms. Davis, the babysitter, ran in from the kitchen.
What happened? Are you okay?
I'm all right. I think the noise came from my bedroom.
When they opened the door to Isaac's room, they felt a rush of icy air. The big front window was shattered. The electric menorah that had been on the windowsill was lying on the carpet. Pieces of glass covered the floor, and on Isaac's bed was a big rock.
My goodness, someone threw a rock through your window.
Isaac rushed to the window and looked outside. The street was quiet. Whoever had thrown the rock was gone.
Why would someone do this?
I don't know.
Ms. Davis shivered and pulled down the blinds and unplugged the menorah.
Isaac, I think we should call your parents.
Isaac nodded. It was very cold in his room, and suddenly he didn't want to be there. What if he had been in bed when the rock came flying through? A little while later, Isaac's parents came home. When they saw the window, they just stared for a moment. Then they turned to Isaac and hugged him.
Are you okay?
I'm all right.
But Isaac was glad his parents were home.
We should call the police right away.
Isaac was the first to see Chief Inman as he came up the walk.
Thank you for coming so quickly.
Isaac, your mom and Miss Davis and I need to talk to Chief Inman alone for a while.
Dad, can't I stay?
Sorry, not this time.
Isaac reluctantly went into the den and tried to do the rest of his math problems, but he just couldn't. Finally, he closed his books, crept down the hall, and listened outside the living room, where he overheard his mom.
We're not taking down the Hanukkah decoration. Being Jewish is who we are. We're not going to hide it.
Well, you shouldn't have to, yet it might be safer. Our officers will try their best to protect you. But with the holidays here, Jewish families seem to be these haters' special targets, especially families with menorahs in their windows.
When Isaac heard that, he couldn't help rushing into the living room.
Someone threw a rock in my window because I'm Jewish?
Well, I think that's why someone threw that rock. There's a small group of people in Billings who have been causing a lot of trouble. First, they sent out leaflets saying hateful things about Jews and some other groups who live here. Then they spray-painted threats and insults on a Native American home and tried to frighten African Americans in their church. Now they're throwing rocks at menorahs, but I can tell you this, we're going to do everything we can to stop them.
Will you put them in jail?
If we catch them, we will. But I think there's another way we can do something about this, and that's if the whole town takes a stand.
After Chief Inman and Miss Davis had left, Isaac and his parents sat at the kitchen table, drinking hot chocolate and talking.
Chief Inman said that the people who threw the rock probably don't even know us, so why would they do it?
Just because we're Jewish. It's the same with the other families in town they're trying to frighten. They don't know anything about the kind of people that we are, and still they choose to hate us because of our skin color or our religion.
But why?
I wish I knew. Haters and bullies have been around for as long as anyone can remember.
Isaac was quiet for a few moments.
Let's put our menorahs away, then maybe they won't bother us again.
His mom put her arm around him.
I know how you feel. It's frightening, but celebrating Hanukkah is part of being Jewish. We're not about to let some bullies keep us from celebrating our holiday.
Sticking up for belief is never easy, but we're not alone. A lot of people in this town are really angry about what these haters have been doing, and we're going to fight back.
I'm going to get in touch with the TV station and try to get interviewed so I can tell everyone in Billings what happened to us and ask people to help.
The next day, a television reporter and cameraman came to their house. Isaac's mom explained what had happened the night before and spoke about the other acts of hate towards the other people in Billings. Many people saw Ms. Schnitzer on TV and read about what was happening in the newspaper. Then a special meeting was called by Chief Inman and a woman named Margaret McDonald, who was a friend of the Schnitzers and had worked with many of the churches in town. Although it was a cold day, a big crowd filled the hall.
Our officers are doing everything they can to catch these people, but it's important that we take a stand as a community. We have to show that an act of hate against even one person in Billings is an act of hate against us all.
Then Margaret McDonald stepped up to the mic.
I have an idea. The Schnitzers have been urged to take down their menorahs so they won't be a target. But that's not the answer. What if the rest of us were told to take down our Christmas trees and our lights because people might throw rocks at us for being Christians? I say let's take a stand. Let's all put up menorahs.
Reverend Toomey, who was the minister at First Congregational Church, spoke up.
Great idea. I'll speak to the other religious leaders who couldn't come to the meeting today, and we'll talk to our congregations.
The next day, Isaac's class talked about what had happened to Isaac and his family. Isaac's teacher had asked Isaac to bring his menorah and to explain why his family celebrated Hanukkah. His friend, Teresa Hanley, who had never seen a menorah, asked,
What are the candles for?
So Isaac told the class the story of Hanukkah, which went something like this. Long ago, in the 2nd century BCE, Israel was ruled by the Greek king Antiochus. He decreed that the Jews could no longer practice their religious traditions. This greatly angered them, and so a small group of freedom fighters, called the Maccabees, fought a 3-year war against the king. Though they were greatly outnumbered, the Maccabees fought heroically and were finally victorious. After the war, according to legend, the Maccabees went to reclaim the temple in Jerusalem and prepare it for worship. When they tried to light the sacred lamp at the temple's altar, they found only one small jar of oil, just enough to provide light for a single night. But miraculously, the oil kept the lamp burning for 8 nights. That's why the menorah has 9 candles. There's one for each night, with an extra candle to light the others. Every year, Jews celebrate Hanukkah by lighting menorahs and remembering the victory of the Maccabees against religious intolerance.
So before we continue with the story, in the spirit of standing up for religious tolerance, let's all sing together now the Hanukkah song, Light One Candle, which our guitars aloud will help lead. It's number 221 in the gray hymnal, and the words will also be on the screen. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we join in singing. The Maccabee children, but thanks that their light didn't die. Light one
Light one candle, the strength that we need to never become our own foe. And light one candle for those who have suffered pain they curse on the goal. Light one candle for how we believe and trust in Jesus Lord. Light one candle for grace and Jesus song and don't let the light go out. The trust for so many years. Don't let the light go out. Let it shine through our lives. And lights wisdom that value so highly, we keep it alive in the flame. What's the commitment for those who die when we cry out that God died in vain? Little difference, always believing that justice will somehow prevail. This is the word, this is the promise, this is the hope. Don't let the light go out. It's lasted so many years. Don't let the light go out. Let it shine through our love and our tears.
got a crowded house in more ways than one.
After Isaac finished telling about the Maccabees, his teacher, Miss Pearson, said,
That's a wonderful story.
Some bullies threw a rock in the window where I had my menorah just because I'm Jewish.
That must have been a very hard thing to happen to you and your family. I read about it in the newspaper, and so did the other teachers. They're all very sorry and angry. Like Isaac said, Hanukkah celebrates the fight for religious freedom. The truth is that people have to fight this battle over and over. And so some of us are going to be putting menorahs in our windows, even though we're not Jewish. We want to show our support for Isaac's family and the other families that are being harassed in Billings.
Teresa liked the idea. She had been trying to imagine how she would feel if someone threw a rock into her window because she had a Christmas tree. It wasn't fair that Isaac had this happen to him. She wanted to do something to help. When Teresa came home from school that day, she told her dad what the class had talked about.
I want to have a menorah in our window, Dad, for Isaac.
I've been thinking the same thing, but it's a decision we should make as a family.
After the rest of Teresa's family came home, they talked about Teresa's idea.
Let's draw our own menorah and put it in the window.
But what if people think we're Jewish?
So what if they do?
We could get a rock thrown through our window, that's what.
We would be taking a risk, but some risks are worth it. People shouldn't be treated this way. What if this happened to us? Wouldn't we want people to help?
Count me in.
I'll do it.
Meanwhile, Isaac arrived back at home.
Mom, my friend Greg told me that the Catholic high school put a big sign in their window that said, "Let's try to get along," and someone threw a brick at it and smashed their window into a zillion pieces.
Yes, I know. As usual, those cowards did their dirty work in the dark, so they couldn't be seen. Thank goodness the school was empty and no one was hurt.
Is the school mad at us?
Honey, why would the school be mad at us? If they're mad at anyone, they would be mad at the person who threw the brick.
But they were sort of doing this for us, and now their window got smashed.
Isaac's mom thought for a moment.
Yes, Isaac, they are doing it for us. And for the families that these haters are trying to scare. But they're also doing it for themselves. They're trying to make Billings a better place to live for everyone.
Then Isaac's mom had an idea.
Don't take your coat off. We're going for a drive.
Where?
You'll see.
It was getting dark as Isaac and his mother began to drive slowly through the neighborhood.
Look, Mom, look at all the menorahs.
In house after house, in the frosty windows, Isaac could see pictures of menorahs. There wasn't a single street without the Hanukkah symbols.
Did anyone else have rocks thrown through their windows?
Yes, they did. But you know what?
Isaac shook his head.
People have become even more determined. The newspaper printed a full-page picture of a menorah and asked people to display it on a door or a window in their homes. And they did, Isaac. People put up thousands of menorahs.
Mom, stop.
She slammed on the brakes.
What is it?
Look.
Ahead was a house with a big picture window, and taped into the window was a large picture of a beautiful menorah, drawn with many brightly colored crayons. Over the menorah was a message. For our friend Isaac, it read, with love from Teresa and the rest of the Hanley family. Underneath was a picture of a Jewish star and a Christian cross.
She didn't tell me she was doing this. She never said anything.
Isaac's mom turned toward him, and he saw there were tears in her eyes.
You know, honey, hate can make a lot of noise. Love and courage are usually quieter, but in the end, they're the strongest.
All the way home, Isaac looked at the menorahs in his neighbor's windows. He thought about what his mom had said, and then he made a decision. The next day was gray and gloomy, but in the evening, a warm, inviting light shone from Isaac's bedroom. Gathered around the window were Isaac and all the Hanley children. They had just finished putting up new holiday decorations. Isaac's menorah was perched on the sill. Each branch was brightly lit and shone on the sign, which had been strung across the length of the window. Happy Hanukkah to everyone in Billings, the sign read. With love, Isaac. As Hanukkah passed and Christmas grew nearer, more and more menorahs could be seen throughout Billings. The town continued to fight against the acts of hatred, and slowly but surely, those acts began to stop. The townspeople told each other this was a gift they had given to themselves, and that it was their best holiday gift ever.
The end. Let's give a round of applause for our storytellers. Thank you so much for helping bring that story alive. So our next hymn is one that will be familiar to, I think, many of you. Maybe not everyone knows it, but it's this, I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. It's number 253 in the hymn, or sorry, that number is actually wrong. It's number 240 in your hymnal if you want to follow along with the words, but we're actually using a different tune that I think is probably more familiar to most people and a little more singable. So if you want to follow along in the hymnal, just don't ignore the notes. It's a song that was written in the 1840s, I think kind of appropriate to follow the story that we told, a story about kind of feeling low about Christmas, about the fate of, or about humanity, and then finding inspiration and possibility. And so in that spirit, we sing that song. I invite you to please rise in body or in spirit. I heard the bells on Christmas Day.
And now a reading from the Gospel according to Luke. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world, and everyone went to their own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was also pledged to be married to him, and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for a baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in the manger, because there was no guest room available for them. And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Today in the town of David a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in cloth and lying in a manger." Suddenly, a great company of the heavenly host appeared with the angel, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth peace to those on whom his favor rests."
Each year, on Christmas Eve, we take a collection to support the minister's discretionary fund, which is a special fund that can be used to provide support for people who have an immediate financial need, often in the case of some unexpected emergency, like a job loss or a medical crisis. It might be money for a meal or groceries, to help pay rent or bills, to make sure the heat doesn't get turned off in the winter. We're not asking for offerings of gold and frankincense and myrrh. Actually, we'll take gold if you have it. We're just asking for help for those of us in our time of need. Who knows? You may be providing support to someone who ends up being a savior for someone else. Tonight's collection are the only source of these funds, so your contributions this evening will determine how much support we're able to offer throughout the year. So I invite you to please give generously. If you're writing a check, Please make it payable to FUCSJ and write MDF for Minister's Discretionary Fund in the memo. If you are paying online, which you can do at sanjoseuu.org/donate, make sure you select Minister's Discretionary Fund as the recipient. Our offering will now be gratefully received. I'm not sure where the offering plates are. This is a first. A Christmas miracle. Who's excited about opening their gifts tomorrow morning? Some hands, yeah. Maybe there's going to be, I don't know, a Lego set or a brand new video game or a bicycle. Maybe it's a pair of socks. For some of us, that's exciting. So I want to tell you about a Christmas I had where the best gifts were not under the Christmas tree. 20 years ago, I was in graduate school at the University of East Anglia in England, and because I was so far away from home, I decided not to come home for Christmas, but to stay in England and do some schoolwork, and maybe do a bit of traveling. So my family planned to send a box with all of my presents in it, and they even got me one of those Charlie Brown Christmas trees, which you can get in a box for me to decorate my dorm room. That's it right over there. But as the end of the school year and as the end of the semester and the holidays drew closer, it became clearer to me that all of the friends I was close with were planning on going away, or rather, back home for the holidays. In contrast to the joyous expatriate Thanksgiving we had had a month before, where 15 people crammed into the small kitchen in my flat around 3 small tables covered by dishes and using my bedsheet as a tablecloth, Christmas was shaping up to be lonely. And on top of everyone leaving, it was also going to be my first Christmas spent without my friends or family. And so that scraggly Charlie Brown Christmas tree seemed like a good representation of what my Christmas was going to be like. The day after classes ended, I started looking at airline tickets. And I found a cheap flight from London to LA that left in just a few days, and so I bought it. But since no one was expecting me for Christmas, I thought, wouldn't it be great to just surprise everyone? So the only person I told I was coming was my friend Jessica Castro, who agreed to pick me up from the airport and drive me around to surprise people. But because my parents were still planning on sending me a box of presents, I had to figure out how to delay them long enough so that I could get there before they mailed it to England. So I stalled and I told them that I would get them the list of what I wanted for Christmas on the day after I was going to arrive. Now, this was not out of character for me as someone who regularly gets my Christmas list way too late. So I arrived in LA, and Jessica picked me up from the airport. First, we drove to my mom's work, and when I walked into her office, she did a double take and stared at me, uttering a puzzled, "Matthew? What are you doing here?" As if I was one of the ghosts that visited Ebenezer Scrooge on Christmas Eve. Before her joy set in, and we embraced with a big, warm hug. Next, we went to the Jewish Community Center where my friends Matt and Natalie worked, and when Natalie saw me at the other end of the hall, she yelled, "Matt McHale!" excitedly and charged down the hall and practically tackled me, knocking me to the ground with a hug. When I surprised my dad at home, after the shock passed, he too greeted me with a big smile and hug. Those 2 weeks I spent with my family and friends were so special to me. Walking around and looking at Christmas lights, making tamales at the Castro's house, going to the Christmas Eve service, my family's elaborate Christmas Day brunch, playing games with friends and family after dinner. Although these were things that I did many years, they felt extra special that year. It was truly one of my favorite Christmas memories. And that box of presents my parents were getting ready to send me, I can't remember what a single present was. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy them. Presents can be fun, but that's not what mattered most. And you know, I never ended up opening the box with a Charlie Brown Christmas tree until years later, in fact, because the tree my parents had set up, big and lush like this one, and covered with shiny ornaments reminding me of Christmases past, seemed more fitting for a Christmas that wonderful. As Richard Gilbert writes, gifts that matter have no weight. They are without substance. Gifts that matter are given to us by the hand of life and grace. Crackling fireside, bright because of who is there, reunion of those long separated, memories of Christmas past, gone but not forgotten, anticipation of the new year yet to be, gift givers whom we love, the gift of life itself. Gifts that matter have no weight. For me and my friends and family, it was getting to spend time together unexpectedly while we were living far away from one another. The people of Billings, Montana, the gift was standing up against bullying and hate and standing up for their friends and neighbors in thousands of paper menorahs and windows. And so, tomorrow morning, when you're tearing open the wrapping paper on the presents under the tree, remember that the best gift of all might be spending time with those around you.
quiet night with ones you love, without a thought for what's beneath a tree. It's dark outside, the earth is cold, but in this house you're safe with family. Around the room you see all your favorite faces, though they don't all resemble your own. And in the still of this silent night, you know for more than sure you're not alone. Bundled up in mismatched clothes and singing songs whose words you don't quite know. Nothing here is perfect, but there's no place else on earth you'd rather go. The fairy tales about angels, kings, and shepherds fill those younger than you with delight. And somehow the thought of that little town works magic on your jaded heart tonight. Emmanuel, even here, even now, you're not alone. Not a place, but a presence makes this home. And though sometimes you'll forget Emmanuel, something greater than the lies you've heard is true. You have a home no matter what you do. And you know it too. That's the kind of Christmas I wish for you. You share a glance, a bashful smile, and yesterday's regrets dissolve away. Wounded pride and hurtful words, they matter less than family today. You start to see the full value of forgiveness, and you promise to do or to try. And with those words you find in the bleak midwinter that the stars all shine brighter in the sky. Emmanuel, even here, even now, you're not alone. Not a place, but a presence makes this home. And though sometimes you'll forget Emmanuel, something greater than the lies you've told is true. You have a home no matter what you do. And you know it too. That's the kind of Christmas I wish for you. That's the kind of Christmas, a holy kind of Christmas. That's the kind of Christmas I wish for you.
Very soon, oh, that was beautiful. Very soon, we're going to, whatever mic you had on previously was louder, I think, and easier to hear. There we go. Very soon, we're going to light candles, but in order to do that, first, let's dim the lights. Bring our lights down. There we go. I invite you to join me in a spirit of prayer, meditation. Let us take a moment to be still in the darkness of this sacred space and listen to the quiet around us. For even in the quiet, there is the gentle being with others. Let us feel the warmth and love of this gathered community, reminding us that we are not alone. For in the still shadow is the glow of life within all. Let us know in the darkness the gift that each candle bears. A small flame, a tiny flickering light. Yet the wondrous gift to kindle another's glow. Let us be in awe at the moment when we take up the flame and the light envelops this room. As hope for justice and peace fill this night and inspire us in the days to come. So may it be. Amen. So, now comes, I know, what is many people's, including myself, my favorite part of the service, where we fill our sanctuary with the lights of our candles. So, in order to do this, so that we don't spill hot wax on each other. This is the way it goes. So when you are lighting someone else's candle, when your candle is already lit, keep your candle upright, and the person who is lighting their candle tips it. Otherwise, you will get hot wax on each other. And so we'll pass the light from row to row. This is my first time doing this service in a place with a balcony. So I'm gonna invite, can I get like a volunteer over in this area who will take the flame up to the folks on the balcony? Thank you. And as we do, we're going to start hearing Silent Night, which we'll sing together. But first, let's just start with some vocalizations of it, some nice oohs of the song as our light goes around. Tonight, in this community, we have shared stories, sung carols, opened our hearts to the beauty of music. Tonight, we have turned to one another, lighting each other's candles in the dark. Tonight, we have dared to hear a message of hope spoken once again against the challenge of the world. It is time now to depart, to go forward to our lives and to our world. May joy be your companion, whether you are with others or alone. May love be your strength, and may the gift of community dwell in your heart. For here, in this place, you will be welcome always, whenever you choose, whenever you need. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. And now join me in singing us out, bringing up the lights just a little bit. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We'll just sing the chorus verse. Hattie Porter Hall, where we invite you to join us for some treats.